am reshooting this video because I realized I forgot something. I realized a little bit ago that I never did a video on the commands that Zoom knows. So if people are ever watching my videos, my training videos specifically, and wondering why I use certain words, I hope that this video explains that a little bit. Okay, the first commands that I'd like to highlight are the basics that most people know, dogs know, which is sit, down, stay. He knows those. And then instead of come, he knows here. And the hardest thing about that was retraining my parents, who all their dogs knew come. And so you had to tell them no, it's here, not come. And that was particularly hard on my dad because he's like stuck in. So, so that there's those, and then he has his chair commands that I taught him, which are the commands he uses when I am in my wheelchair and he's walking with the wheelchair. He has a command where he's taught to go behind my wheelchair, which is simply behind, where he has to go behind the chair. So he's not walking next to me, he's walking behind me so he can go through a door. And then from there, he will go into a regular heel, which is a basic obedience command. You teach a dog to heel. That's a little bit more than you would teach a dog if they were heeling at your hip. It's a little bit different to teach a dog to heel with a wheelchair because each wheelchair is different. And it's different teaching a dog to walk with an electric wheelchair versus a manual, and there's a mess of stuff. But he was trained on a manual wheelchair, and one second. Trained on a manual wheelchair, and so he learned from that, and then we was just transferring it to him walking with my chair. And it took him a few tries before we got the pacing correct, and he was heeling correctly. The only video I have up on my channel of him heeling is one that was taken back in February, and his heel has gotten 10 times better since then. He will tuck into his heel now, and he does that way better on his training collar than he does on just a martingale. I eventually want to be able to walk him without the training collar, because I get kind of weird looks riding him around with the training collar, because most people don't like electrical remote collars. It makes them zigged out, particularly if they're used to a standard shock collar. So, but yeah, there's that. Then he has, these were the two I forgot. He has his kennel command, which to start, I was giving him a treat every time he was in his kennel. And I still do give him a treat occasionally, but he is now at a point where he will kennel without a treat. And I assume the trainer has been working on that when she has him, and not giving him a treat every time he goes in his crate. But he's a little bit better now than he was with it to begin with, which makes my job a whole lot easier because I don't have to worry, do I have a treat for him so he'll go in his crate for the night? Because I did have a few times where he just didn't go in his crate at night because you weren't giving him anything that he would stay in his crate. This was the other command I forgot to mention the first time I shot this, is he has a command that is very important, place. That is telling him to go to this place and stay there. He has two places he does this. My little couch in the living room, which is like a little floor dorm couch. And then I have a chair in my bedroom, which I tell him, go place. And he'll stay there. usually while I'm getting dressed or whatever, and he'll do that. And then he has his commands that are my normal kind of run-of-the-mill type of commands. Off, which is get off me. Usually it's keeping him from jumping on people. I mean, I usually will use this to correct him for that. But sometimes when he puts his paws up on me and I don't want him to, particularly now that he is almost 80 pounds, I don't want him just putting his paws up whenever he wants. And then I have, he knows leave it, which is very important if you don't want a dog getting into the garbage or anything like that. Usually it's just and I also couple that command with this. I'm gonna start doing that a little bit more because that'll keep him from getting food off the floor that I don't want him to get when he's out in public. I tell him move, which is just move, get out of my way. Because sometimes a dog is just in the way. And then sometimes I tell him out, which is usually out, get out of my bedroom, when I'm no longer going to be in there and I don't want him in there. Then he has his task work commands, which are basically take, bring it here, and give. At least 2 of those he already kind of knew from the breeder training him, but I just kind of refined those a little bit. I have to tell him specifically bring it here, or he will not, or he's going to take a long way around to give it back to you, and you have to, they'll tell him to give it back to you directly. And I was working on that today during our training session, which I will post in another video. And that's pretty much all our commands that I can think of off the top of my head that I use on a daily basis. And so I hope that cleared a few things up for people if they were curious about what commands we use. And I'll see you guys in the next one.